What's up, you mythical wonders? I painted my nails, posted a picture of my nails, and I said practicing. Some guy commented on there and he said, "Why would you do that?" And I said, because I'm not always gonna have somebody around to paint them for me. I think that what he meant was, why would you do that? Because it looks gay. But the funny thing is, ever since I started painting my nails, women have been talking to me a lot more frequently, so joke's on you, buddy. Anyway, that's irrelevant. I guess I should go ahead and introduce myself. I got so excited about my nails that I forgot to tell you. My name is Eric Stranger. You can call me Stranger. This is Ghost of Thor Public Access. I'm excited about this project. It's an idea that I've had for a very long time. It's something that I've wanted to work on. Now we're here. We're officially doing the video. Now it is my first one, so please be gentle. My goal is to bring you the best, most talented new artists that you probably haven't heard of. What you're about to experience is going to be an interview with the artist Blu K Boss. Blu K Boss is a good friend of mine. We've been doing a lot of creative pursuits together. The other day while they were painting, I was like, hey, let me do an interview of you. This video that you're about to watch is the result of that interview. So I've done something really fun with this video. On one side of the video, you're gonna see the interview with Blue. On the other side of the video, you'll actually see a time lapse of the entire piece being created. I thought that was really interesting. Kind of has like a Sesame Street vibe or the circus. There's always something to look at. Ultimately, I'm pleased with how this video turned out. There were a lot of hiccups along the way. But overall, it's a really good video. I think that you're going to enjoy it. So if you're an artist or a musician out there and you'd like to do something like this with me, hit me up and let's see if we can work something out. I've got some plans for some future videos. I'm actually planning on filming one today that I'm really excited about, and hopefully that'll be the next one that you'll see on the channel. I've been going on long enough, so I'd like to get to the actual interview itself. I'll pop back in after the interview is done and talk to you a little bit more about the process. I hope that you enjoy. If you wouldn't mind, throw a like, a comment, a share down below. I'd really appreciate it. Hit that subscribe button. Like I said, I'll be back. Until then, carry on, my wayward friends. What's up, you mythical wonders? Whoop.
I know this concept's never done, but it's really it.
Here we go. Hey, look up here. What's up, you mythical wonders? Today we are talking to Blu K Boss. Say hi to the people, Blu K Boss.
What's up? Blu K Boss Art on Facebook. And that can pretty easily link over to the Instagram and TikTok as well. That I know both are blu.k.boss, both the Instagram and YouTube are.
All right, cool. So follow them on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. Like, follow them on all of the social medias. But we're doing an interview with Blu K Boss right now while they're doing a live painting. Is this the painting? I know you
Time lapse.
do what?
I'm doing a time lapse project.
Well, as you can see, the project is very cool looking. But anyway, all right, so for people who aren't familiar with you, who are you, Blu K Boss?
I am a resident of Evansville. I'm a dialysis technician who travels all over Kentucky, and foremost, I am a studio artist with the Twine Gallery, and I compulsively create.
I guess we should go ahead and give people like a precursor to what is to come. You've had an interesting experience in your life. By an interesting experience, you've had multiple interesting experiences. For example, you were raised as a Quaker, correct?
Yep.
And you were on an episode of a reality television program, if I understand correctly. It's like this one like kind of vague reality show that nobody really knows. Can you tell them what the name of it is?
Wife swap.
Oh shit, yeah. So Blue was on an episode of Wife Swap,
And we're going to talk to them about that, and it's going to be very interesting. But anyway, thank you for joining us on Ghost of Thor Public Access. You can support me in the future when I get things set up. I'm just working on getting things set up right now. But thank you for being here, and we're going to have a fun time. And yeah, we'll carry on, my wayward son. Who is Blue?
One quick moment. Blue is someone who really needs to find the white paint. I did find the white paint.
Hashtag winning.
It's always an interesting question, especially when like actively in the middle of painting something, because art can easily be used to describe a lot about me as a person. Art is extraordinarily important to me. This is something that I've been doing just for me for my entire life. And as soon as I have any memory of having art tools, I was using them. I am very thankful for my grandmother in particular, an artist of her own right, always supplying any artistic mediums and tools that I could possibly, that she thought would interest me. And she actually is the one who is in a way very responsible for me painting at all. I never got into painting. It was not my thing. It never clicked. I tried it a time or two, but it just was not something I was interested in. And she had going on and on about a paint type called gouache, which is kind of like an acrylic, if I don't know, watercolor. It's a somewhere in between there. It's pretty cool. And I eventually went, okay, found a very reasonable price on Amazon, and I got the paint. And I had the tools to do so, and I tried it out a few times, but honestly, it wasn't my jam. It wasn't my thing. So it got packed up and moved back to Evansville, Indiana from Eugene, Oregon. And one day, months later, I was working on a pencil and highlighter piece. Yes, pencil, highlighter, and marker. And I was like, wow, this background needs to be a lot more saturated. Ooh, I think I might have something that'll work. And I pulled out the gouache, and that was February 7th of 2023. The funny part is that the core of it has never changed. From the first time I started painting till now, it has always been more in the act than in the result where the importance lies. And it's fun to be able to create different images, but honestly, I love the act of creation, and what happens at the end is usually a surprise to me anyway.
Really? Yeah, really.
A lot of these aren't something that I necessarily plan to do. I didn't plan to do this. Did not plan to do this at all, but this is the direction it took. And so that's the way I went.
As briefly as you can, like 1 to 2 sentences, give us your art philosophy, all wrapped up in a nice little taco that's very easy to ingest.
I put a lot of keep art weird on my stuff, which I truly believe. Keep art weird.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd have to say the real root of my philosophy on art is it is in the act of creation.
What does it mean to be created in the image of God?
That's a topic, so that's not where I thought that question was going to go.
I think that what does it mean to be created in the image of God? It means to be a creative individual yourself, and however that manifests.
All right. I see you.
Because when it comes to God, the big thing that people really think about is creation itself. That the God is the creator being, and I am not a Christian, but I do personally connect with the idea of being created in the image of God, which I think means to be a creative being. So now that we've gotten through a lot of art stuff, we got to talk about your history. Let's start with the Quaker. So we're gonna get to wife swap, everybody. But I want to start with the Quaker stuff. So, like, were you born into Quakerism?
My mom was a Quaker pastor for many years, currently a nurse, but for most of my childhood, she was a Quaker pastor. In fact, I believe she has 3 books on pastoring published.
Nice.
I suppose I don't think I was technically born into it, but I was from an early age raised in a Quaker church, actually, rather than a Quaker meeting. Quaker meetings tend to have a lot more silence. Well, either a Quaker church or a Quaker meeting is probably going to have some level of group meditation. That's a big thing with Quakers. So highly likely you're going to have some of that. Meetings tend to have more of it. There tends to be more of like a group of elders rather than a specific pastor, although these are all interchangeable things, that there's no one golden rule about which has which. Just the vibes tend to be, the cool Quakers tend to be in the meetings, just saying. But my mom was a pastor for a couple different churches throughout my childhood. She was very much writing books.
I don't know how much of your mom's history that you know, but I feel like it would be beneficial to understand how, if you were born into Quakerism, like how did or you weren't born into it, but it's like your earliest memories are involved with Quakerism. Is that
It's
fair?
all because Baptists don't generally hire women. In fact, not many congregations do. Quakers, however, had no problem with it. So when searching for a job as a pastor, mom's options were fairly limited. But so yeah, my mom, she was actually, I went to seminary, I believe, through as a Baptist minister, but couldn't get a job, from what I understand. And not many congregations would be hiring women at all. It was just something that wasn't done. And Quakers were a lot less hard on that rule. We found a lot more acceptance in Quaker churches. And so Mom moved over to pastoring Quaker churches fairly quickly out of ministry.
Do you still identify as a Quaker?
I do. I would call myself like an agnostic Quaker. The Quakerism that I experienced growing up in some of the really cool different Quaker environments that I got to experience was very much more based on pillars like integrity and equality and meditation. And they're based on a lot of qualities I still very much hold to value. And my experience with Quakerism wasn't necessarily a religious belief heavy experience. It was something that didn't necessarily require it. It was far more pillar and virtue based. And that I can fuck with. I think it's a bit hubris to wonder whether or not the Christianity, which religion is correct, and I think it's a bit hubris to think that we could possibly know. And so that's why I call myself an agnostic Quaker. Quakers generally don't have hell.
What does it mean to be a Quaker?
Well, I'm sure there's a definition that's going to be far more correct than what I'm about to give.
You're talking about your experience, and you're talking to this lady right here.
It's really hard because what I'm talking to is my skeleton that needs to behave, which is not a sentence I thought I'd say today.
Welcome to the show, baby. This is what we do.
There's a face in everything.
What does it mean to be a Quaker?
To me, in my experience, what it means to be a Quaker is about certain virtues. Integrity, equality, continuing revelation, meaning nobody's perfect. You have to keep working on it.
Nobody's perfect.
Nobody's perfect? Or I have no idea what you just said.
Nobody's nerfect.
Okay, I'm actually fairly impressed you were able to enunciate that. I don't think I could if I let's say life depended on it.
It's an old joke, but they did it in The Office, and it was a meaningful
Oh my
moment
god.
in The Office.
Yes, no, I forgot about that. No, that would have not rang. I'm so glad that you actually explained that. No, I love The Office. I love The Office. My dad actually put in an application to audition for Michael Scott. It would be the American version of The Office. I'm not shitting you.
That's fucking awesome.
Honestly, Quaker meeting can be 3 people in a room, and it's literally like when 3 or more of us gather. And group meditation's like literally 3 people sitting in the woods, sitting in silence. That can be considered a meeting. Those are aspects that I can get behind. I have found it's a lot of openness. I mean, and some of the truest like Quaker meetings that I've experienced, they're literally just a bunch of people sitting in a room. If you are so moved, you stand up and speak, or sing, or I've had people play instruments. It's what is on your heart.
Is Quakerism connected to Christianity?
Like, yes, it is. But like
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
That's what your eyes look like. Allegedly.
It is. And there's Quaker churches that are way more like Jersey churches. And there's Quaker meetings that make you go, is it connected? There's a spectrum when it comes to Quakers.
Okay, I'm gonna be slightly offensive for a little bit, but there's a lot of gay shit happening at this Quaker meeting.
I mean, when your basis is equality, and a lot of churches just gonna fucking hate gay people, you do become a safer spot for queer people. So yeah, there. You know what? I stand by that. There's a lot of gay shit going down.
Any final thoughts about Quakerism?
I think one of my favorite aspects of Quakerism is the concept of God. The concept of God is far closer to the connections that you have between people. It's not It's not this big man in the sky. And a lot of experience I've had with Quakerism is that God is light. And we'll often say, I'll hold you in the light. And it's like, I will hold you in the support and love of our group, of our friends, of these connections. The goodness between humans that's enough. That's enough to be God. And I can dig that.
One of the things that I promised at the beginning of this video was wife swap. You were on that reality TV show, which is significantly more popular than I let on at the beginning.
It was supposed to be a joke. We thought there was no way that they'd actually take an application seriously. My mom is really, really good about like finding weird opportunities. Like I spent a while like I've got some really cool opportunities because my mom is fantastic. Both my mom and dad were great about finding these random free opportunities throughout Indy. This is kind of like the terrible example because it was this one really did not think this was going to happen.
Give us a good example then, because you said this is a terrible example.
I worked at
do you appreciate the opportunities that your parents sought out?
Oh, absolutely. God, yes.
All right, so give us a positive experience that you had with their seeking out opportunities.
The Children's Museum of Indianapolis. I was with their program for several years and had the opportunity to work on a variety of incredibly cool projects, including working with duck-billed dinosaur bones. It was an absolutely incredible experience to work with one of the largest museums in the world. In such an intimate capacity, especially as a kid. I mean, this was like up through 18, and I had a blast. I learned so much. It was amazing. And so something like that was absolutely incredible. This one was a little less I was a little less than just immediately grateful for. We applied thinking that it was more of a joke than anything. And then they asked for like a video application. And so we're like, okay, hardy, wouldn't be funny if. And then it got to the point where we were doing like psych evals and like they did everything like blood tests, the whole 9 yards, and it just kept being one more intense step after another like intense step. And then it felt like pretty soon after there were like dates for film crews. It was not something I really took seriously that was an actual real possibility until pretty late on. Like it just seemed like, oh no. There's no way. I think there was definitely a point more before the filming that it was like, oh my god, this looks like it's gonna happen. But it definitely for most of that process was just still kind of a joke. And then for me, it happened so fast after that you almost kind of got lost in it, if that makes sense. It was only a week. They only do a week. But it was a really intense week. You're running on no sleep. Like they often showed up like at 6 a.m. and then they would leave at like midnight. And then good luck getting dinner and baths or whatnot or anything else you had to do. Because that was your time, like midnight to 6 a.m. And so my dad and I, because I had 2 younger siblings, Dad and I especially were very tired. And so were the kids, and so were my younger siblings. And so it was just not fantastic sleeping or necessarily consistent meals. Like they tried, they weren't like, but no, there was definitely not like fantastic, consistent like taking care of. It definitely felt like they were trying to create stressful situations just by altering, hey, sleep to provide hungry people, provide better content. Half trying to remember, half trying to put words to, half trying to not fight the painting. That's half this problem is I kind of want to fight the painting.
It was very difficult for you to watch the episode for a long period of time.
Yes, it was, especially as a kid. And
how old were you when everything was going down?
I think I was 13, 12. I was really concerned about. This was a period of time that I was feeling like I had to protect my younger sibling, trying to minimize how insane it was for little siblings while feeling sleep deprived, while in an intense situation, while there's somebody there who is talking poorly about your way of life with cameras in your face. And then of course I was homeschooled, and so having people know you in such an odd way when I did go to a public high school, that was a trip. So the entire experience was just a very stressful one that really pushed my capabilities as a 12-year-old. I had to do a lot more of the child handling and like actually being parts of conversations, which I during that I necessarily expected, which was just exhausting because there were times where it got heated to the point where actually my dad packed us all in the truck and he just drove away for a while. We just left for a little bit. We did. We just left. So it was kind of every single day, a week of non-stop intensity, anxiety and stress. And it wasn't the enjoyable experience that I think any of us did. I don't think anybody thought it would go that intense every single day. And I'm not sure that anybody would have agreed to it if we had known. I honestly love the film crew. Love the film crew. Super sweet. Gave us access to their snacks, and I believe my mom actually talks to several of the film crew still from her. They went to see Niagara Falls together, because they were in Buffalo, New York. Oh yeah, it was a whole thing. Yeah, so no hate at all for the production crew. I thought they were extremely lovely people that really looked out for us when they could. But at the end of the day, they got a job to do. They've got scenes to film.
And that's the end of the interview. If you liked it, I hope that you'll stick around to the very end. I've got some more bonus interview content for you. Hope you enjoyed that. As you can tell, it kind of just ends. Originally, our plan was to do more interviews. I'm used to doing a podcast. I actually have a podcast. It's called The Ghost of Thor Radio Show. You can check that out on Spotify. I've got over 200 uploads on there, so definitely plenty of stuff up there to keep you busy for a long period of time. When I went into this interview, I had the idea that I was going to do it like my podcast, which is usually 3 sections. They're about 45 minutes to an hour each. So that's what I was planning on doing with this. But after the first hour, we were both really tired. And I was like, okay, we'll put this on hold and we'll film again another day. Well, we never ended up doing that, and let me tell you, thank God, because it took a long time just to get through this hour's worth of footage. But overall, I'm really pleased with how this video turned out. I think it's a good proof of concept. Obviously, it's not the most high quality thing ever, but it is good, and the editing specifically I think is really good. I will say that when I first watched the initial hour that I had taken, I was actually a little bit disappointed. To be honest, I was a little drunk when I was doing the interview, and listening to myself in the interview, it made me realize that I habitually drink, and that causes problems with my creativity sometimes. In this particular case, it did. Now, another aspect of that is I was more focused on the camera angles, making sure that Blue could be heard. I had a lot on my mind, and being entertaining wasn't one of those things that I thought about. But let me tell you, this interview was a bitch to put together. For those of you who know me, know that I've had a lot of issues with my phone recently, which is what I'm using to record this piece and what I used to record the interview. Going through all of the ways that my phone broke during this video would take forever, so I'm not going to bore you with that. Just know that it was a very challenging project, but like I said, this is something that I've wanted to do for a really long time, and I'm pleased with how it turned out. I'm excited about this adventure. I think that this is good quality content. Quality is going to improve as time improves, but this is a good first step. Like I said, I've been doing podcasts for so long, and one of the big things about podcasts is that I could release them without editing. And I've really been wanting to break into YouTube. I really like YouTube. I really like that idea of being able to create something and put it out there for the world. I'm excited to be on this part of my journey. I think that there's going to be a lot of good things coming out of this. A lot of good things coming out of Ghost of Thor Public Access. That's much bigger than just this interview or this YouTube channel. Waiting for the truck to pass. But yeah, Ghost of Thor is much bigger than this video or even this YouTube channel. I'm building an open mic, an art show. I'm building a community around this idea of finding new good talent that I can show you guys. I'm really looking for more words to say, but honestly, the runtime on this is long enough. I think that as time goes on, that these intros and outros will be a little bit more refined. The project turned out well. It's not perfect, but it's good. It shows potential. I learned a lot from this experience that is going to move into further experiences. And from my experience, the more that you practice something, the better that you become at it. And so I believe that as I create more and more of these videos with more and more artists, I think that you're going to see that. And I think you're going to see that quality improve. And I think that I think that I'm going to create some really good videos from it. Thank you for being here. Please drop a comment, like, share, subscribe, follow Blue K Boss Art on all social media platforms. Here's that bonus content. Carry on, my wayward friends.
What's your current mindset as far as what you're painting right now?
It's more of, ooh, I can't wait to see what it is than anything else. I am very much just like shape focused. This exact second, I'm trying to build a leg to a bone on a body. So what I'm doing is I'm looking at each individual shape and going, yes, no, not quite, till I find what I consider to be the correct one.
Earlier, we were talking about, we were talking with each other, and you started sketching. You told me not to freak out. So I want you to tell them the story of you telling me not to freak out, and what happened, and why did it happen.
I've had experience in the past with people really, really, really not liking when you look like you're just erasing a bunch of the art. And I've had a couple people unexpectedly like freak out on me when I have purposely destroyed, and I don't want to say destroyed, I personally, erased a drawing or unraveled an art crochet project that has really, really deeply upset them. Despite the fact for me, it's, well, of course I'm not doing it because I learned, so I'm going to do it better. But I've learned that if you're going to do that kind of thing, you have to give people a heads up. And bonus points if you tell them not to freak out, because they're like, of course I'm not going to freak out. And then low key, if they freak out at all, then you're just like validated. Because nobody thinks they're going to freak out until you actually start doing it. And then occasionally it really does bother somebody. And I'm like, I've had people get mad at me. I'm like, I told you, this is what I was going to do. That it might bother you. Do not freak out. And yet, the destruction of art is somehow so inherently there. I think it is kind of beautiful.
Why don't you feel adverse to the idea of erasing your art when so many people around you, they instinctively are like, no, don't do that?
Because longevity in art pieces is not necessarily my end goal. Art, while it's amazing and cool and wonderful when we have art that has lasted ages, that's not what I'm here. A lot of this art is just for me. The educational purposes only sometimes. It is the act of creation, not the final result, that holds the importance for myself. I don't need the final completed piece. What I need is to create it. Sometimes a start of a piece or a start of a project, you learn more lessons than you get right. And sometimes the best thing to do is start a bit over with a little more experience than you had on the first short go around.
You've finished a lot of projects. You've done how many in the last nearly a year? Is it 250?
No, I think I'm in 230s area.
How do you count your art projects? Because I think this is an important question. Because
it's a great question. That's what I'm added with.
These anxiety pieces, you've done 4 of those that were just like chilling on top of each other in that chair over there. Wait, here, I'm going to show the audience. This is what I mean by an anxiety piece. This is a short piece of cardboard. Is that the term that...
Yes, in that particular piece, that is a 2023 planner that someone was throwing away that I cut into fourths and then taped with medical tape onto a piece of cardboard and painted.
Since we're into editing and everything, what's up, you mythical wonders? Whoop. Hey,
What's up, you mythical wonders?